So if you want to brand me with something, you can call me the qualified choice or the financially responsible choice. My name's Graham Smith. I'm running for the Board of Supervisors here in San Bernardino County. Until about a year ago, I had no idea what a county supervisor was because I didn't need to and I didn't care. As long as everything works okay, it's not really front of mind. But then spending the last 4 years here in San Bernardino County, seeing how hard aspects of life can be for county residents, you get involved and you start to figure out why things are the way they are and you want to know what you can do about it. For me, that kicked off with my experience in the snowstorms last winter, but since then it's grown to be much, much more. And as I've learned more about the role of county supervisor, I've realized this is a job I can do really well. Why do I say that? I've got really relevant professional experience, and I think it's way more relevant to this role than a life spent in politics. I think a lot of career politicians are responsible for some of the mess we're in, not just nationally, but in this county, and I think it's time for a fresh perspective. But let me tell you a little bit about what I used to do. I spent the bulk of my career investing money and managing big investment portfolios. And here are some of the things that job entailed. I would have to go seek out resources and raise money from outside stakeholders for my company. That's kind of like the county raising money from the state of California. And then I'd invest that money in private companies across a whole range of sectors. I tried to make a list the other day and I got up to over 40 and I stopped counting. Why is that relevant? Well, this county is made up of dozens of departments and each one of them operates a little bit differently. And my core skill set is looking at something, figuring out how it works, and then deciding how to allocate resources to make that work better. I don't care how much political experience you have. This is such a wide-ranging job. I don't think there's anyone who can credibly say, I've seen every possible scenario that's going to arise in this job. So I think what's way more important is being able to respond to stuff quickly, gather all the data and input from others that you possibly can, and then make a really informed decision. And that's exactly what I spent my professional career doing. I'd sit on company boards and I'd provide input on what I thought a good strategy would be to make things work better. I also want to acknowledge that the role of supervisor is, in fact, heavily financial. I don't know if you've ever attended a Board of Supervisors meeting or read through some of the minutes, but a huge part of this job is approving spend and negotiating contracts. And I think it's easy in a county with a $10 billion budget to go through and say, okay, this $1 million contract maybe doesn't make a difference. I think the problem we get ourselves into is if each one of those contracts isn't negotiated well to begin with, those collection of $1 million contracts actually add up to be a pretty big number. Now, I've been spending a lot of time with our county's budget. I'm also going to go out on a limb and say I'm probably the only candidate that's been doing that. I have a professional background and body of experience that allows me to do this well. And I think in this role, it's really important both to be able to look big picture and also look at the detail. And that's why you hear me talk about things like we need to diversify our broader economy to make it more stable and more robust. But I can also look at this report and tell you on page 125 in the Geographic Information System division of the county, they've added almost $1 million to their staffing budget and only one more employee. Now, there might be a good reason for this, but I can tell you if I'm sitting in that supervisor seat, I'm going to check in with this department head and say, hey, can you tell me what's going on? And I think if we had more people in these positions who could do that, I think as a county, we'd be way better off. I'm going to keep hammering this point home. We need more financial responsibility and more financial oversight. I mean, look at what happened. The old CEO completely ran amok, and now we're still cleaning up his mess. I think it's kind of funny looking at not just this race, but pretty much any political race you can think of. People always try to brand themselves as something. So people will say, I'm the public safety choice, or I'm the law enforcement choice. I think that's a little bit disingenuous because no one's not for public safety and no one's not for law enforcement. But what I can tell you is the best way to get better public safety and better law enforcement and, quite frankly, a better county overall is to make sure each one of these departments is well funded and has the resources they need to do their job properly. So if you want to brand me with something, you can call me the qualified choice or the financially responsible choice. Because I know at the end of the day, that's how everything gets done.